the government told you how many of the 145 released detainees will meet the threshold under the papers to be repaid?
No, they haven't, but I think we should be very clear here that the regime that the government's providing might have application to 2 or 3 or 4 people. That's it. So the other 142 that they've unnecessarily released into the community now have the potential to cause harm, and I think the Australian public are rightly very angry about it. This is a government that has botched it. They have made our community less safe. They have put people out into the community that should be on a plane out of our country. These are not people who are of good character. We welcome people in their millions to our country because they are people of good character, because in many cases they make great Australians. And we're a wonderful society today because of migration, but we should not allow people to be released into the community who have committed sex offences against children, who are non-citizens offending against Australian citizens. And Minister Giles here and Minister O'Neil are completely out of their depth. And the Prime Minister should sack Andrew Giles and sack Clare O'Neil and put ministers who are competent into those roles to clean this mess up, because otherwise we're going to see these people committing offences, further offences against Australian citizens, and nobody wants to see that.
Just back to the anti-Semitism issues, are you supportive of the plans by the Labour government here to change the Crimes Act to make it easier to prosecute people for hate speech and incitement on the spot and not have to take it up the line to senior brass?
Well, yes, but I don't want that to be used as an excuse. And I think the points that Mark Speakman's made in relation to this are very important. The laws exist now for prosecutions to take place, but there needs to be an appetite from the Minister, and there needs to be an appetite from the Premier, and at a federal level from the Prime Minister. I mean, when you've got Mark Dreyfus and you've got Clare O'Neil, who are, frankly, as we've demonstrated in the last couple of weeks, are hopeless when it comes to enforcing the rule of law, what hope would you have? And that's why the Prime Minister needs to show some strength, show some leadership. Instead of being weak and woke, he needs to stand up and be strong and stand up for our country's interests. And at the moment, the Prime Minister's not doing that. He's not doing it on cost of living. He's not doing it in relation to allowing these criminals out into the community to commit more offences. He's not doing it for the Jewish community. And I think the Prime Minister's weakness at this time, that our country needs strength, is a great and understandable concern to most Australians.
The French President's call for Australia to lift the ban on nuclear energy.
Well, I just think it's a cry of common sense. And you've got Chris Bowen, who again is another example of a minister out of his depth, out of ideas. The government promised that they'd reduce power prices by $275 at the last election. Your power bills now have gone up by thousands of dollars under this government. And the sad reality is that they're going to continue to go up by many more thousands of dollars, because the government's renewable-only policy is going to see a disruption in supply, as the energy regulator has warned, so blackouts, and you're going to see power bills where pensioners won't be able to afford to turn their air conditioners on over the course of summer or winter for that matter. Small businesses who are laying staff off at the moment because they can't afford to pay their power bills under this government. So the embrace that other developed countries have undertaken in relation to nuclear is sensible for our country. It's zero emissions, it can firm up renewables, and it will provide an opportunity to reduce power bills. And at the moment, Anthony Albanese, because he's never across the detail and because he's weak, won't stand up to Chris Bowen and the left of the Labor Party, who are pushing this ideology, and Australian families and small businesses are paying the price. And Australian families have had enough of paying the price under this Labor government. They thought under this Prime Minister they were going to get cost of living relief. Well, the complete opposite has happened. And there are a lot of families at the moment who just can't afford to pay their power bills. And the way that Chris Bowen's going, people will have power bills many thousands of dollars more than what they are today over the course of the next 5-10 years.